How's that?
Are you ready, Nico? We all good, yeah? Alrighty, righty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything results. Oh, fuck it. That's your fucking intro, isn't it?
Should I go?
Try to do it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world revolves. Fucking hell.
See? It's good.
The world revolves.
No,
the world where everything revolves.
No, just pipe Sujin or something.
Huh?
Just pipe Sujin. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's James, and Suj is on holiday because he does that about 10 times a year. Clayton Fernandez is standing in. How are you, Clates?
I'm good. International break. Loving the England game on Friday. But
you was at Wembley, wasn't you?
I was indeed.
Thriller, wasn't it?
Yeah, best night of my life. It was exhilarating.
Well, you told me off camera that was Saturday night, actually.
Yeah. No comment. Friday night, went to the England game, caught up with one of my closest friends who is a newborn? He's a new father. That's the words I'm looking for. So we
hello, shout out new father, friend of Clayton.
So I think I watched about 20-25 minutes of the game and I was just chatting to him for the rest of the game. It was shocking, really boring.
Yeah. We miss Premier League football. It's obviously back this weekend for game week 9 for 4 weeks. And then it's a very, very long period from sort of game week 13, isn't it, to game week 28 or 29 before the next break or so. Something a little bit different today. I don't actually know per se exactly what's going to be happening because Clayton's taking charge of this one, but we're going to be covering off latest thoughts on all 20 teams and what we've learned so far this season. I think you've got some statistical stuff for us, Clayton. Cool. Before we do, tickets are now on sale for our live show Sunday, November the 5th at the Thirsty Bear pub in central London near Waterloo Station. Live show is brought to you in partnership with our friends at FPL Meets. Tickets now on sale, priced at £5. All proceeds from ticket sales will be going to the Game Week 39 charity fundraiser from the FPL community. We'll be matching whatever total is raised through sales as well and doubling the total. We'll have a live screening of Forest versus Villa and Luton versus Liverpool. And then at 7 o'clock, a live Game Week 11 review podcast with an audience. Really looking forward to it. If you can make it, tickets link is in the bio, or if Nico's clever enough on YouTube, maybe even directly on the screen. Cheers, mate. Clayton, what are we doing today?
So, like you said, I've got a stat from all 20 teams. Some are bog standard stats, some are like narrative type statistics, and I'm going to chuck a couple of them out at you. You're going to guess the team. Some of them, it's impossible to guess. So I'll say, this is the team, this is the statistic. Okay. And we'll have a little chat about them. And like you say, see what we've learnt from them so far this season.
Before you do, actually, how's your FPL season going?
I was hoping we could dodge that.
Hey, you're doing fine, mate.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's I'm 1.17 mil in the world at the minute overall. Just popped the wild card. So game week 8 wild card was used.
Don't like it.
Yeah, James has said off air he basically hates my wild card and he thinks I've put myself in a lot of trouble. And I must say, it was literally a 2-minute wild card, so it wasn't the most meticulously planned thing in the world.
Well,
but
if you're looking for Suj's job, you're going the right way about it.
Yeah, exactly. Living up to it. So, I mean, should I talk about what my wild card was?
Go on,
okay. So I won't go into massive detail on plans and strategies and stuff, but the team in game week 8 got me 50 points, and I had Turner for his clean sheet. My back three was Dallo, Castagna, and Pedro Porro for his clean sheet. My boy Gibbs White, it was in midfield, alongside your annoying boy Richarlison, who should have got me more points. Sonny captain, which obviously didn't go too well. I've got Salah in my team, and then Mbeumo, and then up front was Watkins and Haaland, and my bench is Areola, Cash, Burn, and Archer. Yeah, and we can move on now because I know you're gonna.
No. Just the reason I don't like it. Generally speaking, there's a lot of picks there are fine, but I feel like you're fine for this week. But then when you get into next week, you're gonna look at a lot of things you don't like. Like when Mbeumo's fixtures turn, Gibbs White obviously goes to Liverpool. Richarlison might come out of the team. Dallo's playing Manchester City. Fulham go to Brighton. Then it looking a bit rougher there. So this
other
week
than that, it's fine.
But after that. Yeah, I think suddenly you've got 4 or 5 problems, which you ideally probably didn't want.
Yeah,
coming off a wild card, that's all.
Richarlison was very much a punt because of Brennan Johnson's injury. And to be fair, he probably should have got me some points against Luton. And Fulham, I still think he'll be in the team. And that's another one I look at, and I think he'll do all right. Obviously, clear thing there is no Arsenal long term. I do want to get an Arsenal defender in. So with hindsight, that was probably
the players you want to move about, he's going to block you off if you want to start going into Saka's, Martinelli's. That's the problem.
Yeah,
start prioritising other things.
I'm not that bothered about the Arsenal midfield and attack right now.
Ooh,
yeah.
Says the Gooner, by the way.
Yeah, Arsenal fan. So yeah, I know we've got some decent fixtures coming up, like Chelsea, Sheffield United.
That's not going to become a soundbite.
Yeah, I think we've got decent fixtures, but they're in between difficult ones. So, like, jokes aside, I don't think Chelsea away will be easy. Sheffield United at home's fine. Then Newcastle away, that's not going to be easy. Then it's Burnley at home and Brentford. So I think it was one of those. I was happy to kind of let it go. I think the mistake was probably not just keeping an Arsenal defender on the wild card.
I've got you second on my FDR for the next 8.
Yeah, that's overall, right? I'd like to see it offensively because I'm not fully there with how we've been clicking. I think
it'll come, but I suspect we'll talk about it. Just briefly on my team.
Yep.
Very much wait until these internationals are gone before I even think about it too much because I've got Botman, Saka, Mitoma and Saliba all flags. I need some information on them. If they're all available, it could be that I go Jared Bowen. If I don't do anything, then it's probably a straight shootout choice between starting Mitoma or Doku, I think. Would have been handy if I got the Man City and Brighton correspondents on Clash the Correspondents this week on Thursday, which I do. So maybe they can answer that dilemma for me. It's going to be a late wild card for me as it stands, unless I've got big problems, in which case I don't think I'd pull it this week. I'd survive this week and pull it in 10, I think. But I'm more likely to be later on. Go on then, Clayton.
Wait, just quickly, where are you overall at the minute?
I'm 8 points better than you, 823k, I think. So, you know, that shows you 800k basically to what, 1.1 million, 8 points. It's nothing, is it?
Yeah, it's so bunched up.
It's a goal near enough, right?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, floor is yours, mate.
So, I feel like it'll be rude not to start with you a lot.
Oh, okay.
Go on, straight in. So,
So you're going to do this in league table order, I presume?
No, I'm not. I'm jumping. So, I'm giving you this one. We're starting with your lot.
Got it.
And then I'll be jumping throughout. So, 20 points after 8 games. Best ever start to a Premier League campaign.
Yeah.
Last time it was this good was 1960, and you won the league that year.
Yep.
Are you going to win the league?
Well, on Clash of Correspondents tomorrow as well, you'll get to hear that from Ricky Saunders, because the first question I ask him is, could we? And the last question I ask him is, could we? So it kind of becomes a bit of a circle in terms of we jest about it a lot. So the squad doesn't have enough depth, mate.
No.
Simple as that. It doesn't have enough depth. I keep speaking about it. Those who listen regularly will know I keep speaking about the 6 key players. That's the goalkeeper, the 2 centre-backs, Destiny Udogie, Bissouma and Maddison. You take any component out of that, this team's going to be in I won't say trouble, but it's going to, in terms of, if you want to compete for that, it's not on. It's not on if you lose any of those components. So, you know, we speak quite a bit on that podcast tomorrow about, obviously, Bissouma suspended for Fulham, how we potentially cope without that. For a game like Fulham at home, we would still expect to win the game, obviously. But I think longer term, no, there's just not enough depth in the squad. It needs people to kind of really step up. That means Bentancur, when he comes back, hitting the ground running, for example, because he'll have to cover for Bissouma and probably Sarr when they go to AFCON in January. I think that's being overplayed a little bit because he probably only missed sort of 2 or 3 league games. To be honest, that's not the worst thing in the world. That's no different than someone getting injured for 3 weeks. It's not the worst thing. But yeah, I think we've got basically no cover at centre back other than kids. When I say kids, you know, the good kids, Ashley Phillips captaining England under-19s at the weekend. I'm a big fan of Alfie Dorrington. But are they ready to go in, not just to a team, but a team that you're saying, can they win the league? I mean, it's a big call, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big call. If Udogie gets injured, we speak about what the solutions for Tottenham are in that circumstance on that pod tomorrow as well. Like, it's not great. The Celso's back fit, that's possibly a cover for Maddison, but it's not quite the same. Bissouma, you can't replicate. You can't. Someone can only try and be themselves. Can't do the job as well as Bissouma. So
in terms of learning,
there's no depth, unfortunately.
No. And in terms of learning so far, I know in the summer you were kind of saying this season your expectations were, well, you wanted to see yourself enjoy your football team, and I think you were loosely saying like 8th. Is what you kind of thought.
I think that's what I predicted, in pre-season.
So what have you learned so far, and where are you at?
That we'll probably finish above that. So we try not to set targets. I know people want to talk about it, and in a weird way, what happened with the Liverpool game and stuff meant that people haven't spoke about it so much. And then the narrative of what happened with the Luton game in terms of Bissouma getting sent off, and then the fact you and City played each other the next day again meant that there wasn't too much focus on Tottenham, which is fine. But then, next weekend we go on last, so there will be a lot of people talking about it on sort of Tuesday, Wednesday afterwards and stuff like that. So yeah, not trying to set targets. He's already achieved what I wanted him to this year
in terms of enjoyment.
Everything that we got told about from Celtic fans about Ange has been correct, except one thing.
What's that?
It will take a while
for
you to see the benefits of the style.
Yeah, and that has come rapidly.
Seen it straight away. We spoke about this quite a lot on our Patreon pod last week, about actually maybe the players are better than I give them credit because of how quickly they've taken it on board. But I also spoke on that pod about the fact that they've been brainwashed with defensive football so much. They were obviously so open to this kind of new idea.
It's like a new lease of life, isn't it?
And brand. And it's obviously, look, it's in a honeymoon period at the moment. And there's a longer term vision with what Tottenham are trying to do. I'm very, very pleased. If the team stayed fit for the whole season and we went out really early in the FA Cup and we keep winning, then we could be involved.
Yeah.
But the chances of that happening are so minute.
One thing you spoke about in the summer was defensively. You thought that you said you'd beat a lot of teams and thrash a lot of teams, but you thought you'd be on the end of a couple of hidings. Do you think?
Yeah, I still think that will happen at some stage.
Yeah, because I don't think you'll be on the end of a hiding, but I still think defensively there's areas where teams can get at you that it hasn't quite come to fruition.
No, and I think probably if there is one. I mean, there's a lot of changes from expectations pre-season, but Van der Ven's come in.
He's brilliant, yeah.
Well exceeded people's expectation. And obviously he's forming a really good relationship with Romero. Porro's playing the position that we didn't think he'd be able to play. Udogie's, people within Tottenham knew what the expectations were, but I think it will have obviously surprised outsiders with how good he's been.
I'm someone that's been surprised by that.
Collectively and individually, they're strong. The goalkeeper's come in and has done really well and has obviously improved things as well. So defensively, stronger. And I think the only game we can really go off to look at that really is probably the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
In the sense that they obviously, I wouldn't say take a battering in the first half hour, but took a lot of punishment, if you will, and managed to get through most of it and then stand solid for the kind of the remaining hour of the game and be very competitive with you, where they weren't like all at sea or under real duress or anything like that. So defensively it's been better than we expected. We'll give every single team a chance though.
Yeah.
Now, if you think Fulham won't have a chance next Monday night at some point in the game, they will. Yeah. It's like a certainty.
Fair play. Anything to add on your boys?
No, I don't think that's probably worthwhile because that actually ends up in kind of a 70-minute podcast tomorrow. And we obviously talk about Tottenham quite a lot. So there's a lot on Tottenham FPL assets on tomorrow's podcast.
Sure. So we spoke about one exciting team. Who is the team that scored the most goals in the season in the Premier League so far this season?
Newcastle?
Incorrect.
Brighton,
21 goals scored for them, the most in the league.
Yeah.
What have you learned from them so far this season? Anything new that you've learned?
No, I don't think we really know it yet, but it's probably that they're not at their peak at the moment. I think Roberto De Zerbi said that very honestly. From an FPL perspective, this rotation is going to be an absolute bitch with the Thursday, Sunday stuff. There's no,
They were going to be like that anyway, right?
Yeah. To be honest, yes. Yeah, it was getting to that stage last season anyway where it was becoming suddenly he's put Buonanotte and then Sisso in the team instead of March and Mitoma just randomly.
And then March at left back, which
the Wolves 6-0, wasn't it? Where everyone had sort of like March and Mitoma and they both got 1 point each, didn't they? Despite the fact they won 6-0 because they'd been rotated. And you look at their fixtures coming up, and that's an amazing run. Game week 10 to 16. Fulham at home, Everton away, Sheffield United at home, Forest away, Chelsea away, Brentford at home, Burnley at home. What a run. Yeah. That's why Mitoma's still sitting in my team.
Yeah, I'm probably going to look to move back to him as well.
And to be honest, if Verstappen hadn't got injured, I'd have probably left him hanging about as well, to be totally honest. So purely because with those two, I don't think they start all 7 of them games. No. Even say if Verstappen was back fit. But they'll start the majority of them.
Yeah, and in that sort
of... the rest is just a guess.
Yeah, in that sort of team, you don't need to be starting every game. Over the course of 7 games, the amount of points they'll accumulate,
We also spoke about how seriously they would take the Europa. And they obviously got a decent result in Marseille, particularly considering they was 2-0 down. But they've got 1 point from the first 2 in the Europa. and 2 games with Ajax coming up, right? So and Ajax aren't in the best state actually at the moment in the Eredivisie, but they need to get themselves sorted in that competition. It might even become a priority over the Premier League games over the next couple of months, because for them, you have to remember they've never been in it before. No. It's so important to them as a football club. They might never get in it again. I'm sure they will, right? Because I think they'll finish high enough in the league this year. That stat in itself tells you a lot, right? Top goal scorers. Weren't they? I don't know if the stat is still up to date, but I know that from when De Zerbi took over to the end of last season was top XG in Europe's top 5 leagues, wasn't it?
Wow. Top in all 5 leagues?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
You joke, mate, offensively. But it makes it really difficult for FPL because you can never be sure other than basically if Lewis Dunk's fit.
Yeah.
Even look at the goalkeepers.
I know.
Good luck guessing who's going to play in goal between like Steele and Verbruggen. So, I mean, that gives you a complete kind of overview of what it's like for guessing all the assets. Like, you look at someone like Simon Adingra, that's well worth keeping an eye on. Was he like 5 million in FPL? If he gets in the team regularly, you want a piece of that rather than Cole Palmer or something, because the explosiveness could be much more.
So with that run in mind,
too much of a headache
for people, I guess like myself, who wildcarded with no Brighton but has an eye on them, where would you be going?
I still think Mitoma.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still think, because it was the one who'll get the most minutes. And I think he's of an exceptional.
And would you only go for him? You wouldn't double, triple up on Brighton?
I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Don't know where to go because of the minutes and stuff. I know a few people gone like with Tariq Lamptey and stuff. Lamptey's, we've seen it already last week.
He's one of many choices.
Not going to play Thursday and Sunday. And at the moment, he's probably going to cover for Estupiñán probably in Europe. So Estupiñán would be very interested in as soon as he's back available. Would actually ironically be the next one. I think Adingra, I'd really be keen to keep an eye on. João Pedro as well, because it's cheap enough. I do like him. But it's just a headache every week.
It's the same thing as start of the season.
Invariably, he's going to become quite often the one you bench. And because the fixtures are good, you don't want to be... I had this a few times earlier in the season where I ended up playing him because it was like, that's better for me than, the fixture's really good, and if he's benched. It was like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. I'd rather go on the upside of it. Even there were times where I didn't think he'd start, and I was still playing him because the fixture was great.
I was doing the exact same thing.
So...
just not sure I want that headache again. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Whereas Mitoma, like I said, I don't think he'll play all those games, but he'll play the majority of them. Yeah. I do think that because Man City's next, people do struggle a little bit to look beyond the fixture change. But it's coming. Yeah. As soon as you get that City game out of the way, that's nearly the best run in the league from 10 to 16. And there's a lot of, West Ham, Villa, Liverpool folks at the moment. Don't forget them,
Brighton.
But it's hard work, and that's why Mitoma's still sitting there for me, basically.
Lovely stuff. Right, from one end to the table to the other, who has scored the least amount of goals this season?
The least?
The least. I thought you were looking at the Premier League table there.
No, it wasn't. It's just my fixture graphic. It's got to be Sheffield United or Luton, I think, isn't it? Is it neither?
It's Bournemouth. With 5.
Really?
And that surprised me because...
They've had it tough, though.
They have. Well, yeah, okay, so what do you think of them? Because Iriola, is that how you pronounce it?
Antonio Iriola, yeah.
Iriola, when he came in, there was a lot of talk about, obviously, the kind of expressive nature. You look at the types of signings and... yeah, I agree, the fixtures have been real tough, but, 5 goals scored, lowest in the league.
I mean, the fixture run's been horrendous. They've got 3 points from the equivalent 8 last year. They got 0 from the equivalent 8 games last season. So you could make the case that they're 3 points up on last year's total. I think until the last 2, it was fine because it only lost to like Brighton, Liverpool, and ourselves to Tottenham. Those are the only 3 they'd lost, right? And they're all kind of top 4 candidates at a minimum. But the performances against yourselves. And we spoke a lot about that game in the build-up and said, sticky for you, this, actually. And then they got well beat at Everton as well, which just that in itself is alarming. Shock, So it's the last 2 performances and results have obviously caused alarm. They've got 2 fixtures coming up now, Wolves and Burnley, which are massive. And unfortunately, if they go badly and then you're looking at Man City away and then Newcastle afterwards... we could be sitting here and it's 3 points from.
Is he in trouble? Do you think?
I think he's in trouble if the next 2 go badly. Sure. As long as the next 2 go okay, even if it's just 1 win in there, I think that's okay. Because I also think that there's probably a little bit of an understanding that with respect to Luton and Sheffield United, there are two very weak teams in this league, where I think, that's not to say they can't stay up, but clubs like Bournemouth are probably thinking there's only 2 or 3 other teams we've got to be better than to keep ourselves kind of heads above water. So now's the time. I've spoken about this. We sort of said once the Everton game comes now, we've got to judge them. The judgment now is they've got to do something these next 2. I know there's a few people gambled on Solanke on wildcard very recently, and I think that was because of Everton, Wolves, Burnley, and that's absolutely fine. I think we thought we'd get to this point and one of the sort of 5.0 midfielders might begin to stand out. I thought it would probably be Ryan Christie, to be honest. Neil Grover kind of poo-pooed that on COTC a couple of weeks ago. He's coming back on again next week as well. Talk about this a little bit more. Okay. Now that we've got a fixture coming this weekend, we were looking at them going, you've got to win, really.
Why did he poo-poo the Christie idea? Was it specifically Christie or the fixtures around?
No, he said, and to be fairness, he said that at the time we spoke, thought Tyler Adams was obviously coming back fit, and he thought it would mean that Philip Billing would probably move further up the field, and Christie might come out. Now, since then, Adams has obviously had a setback, and that's a big blow. So it might be that it comes back around for the likes of Christie or Tavernier, who did really well when he was available last year, but he's a little bit more pricey. He's kind of going up towards sort of like Anthony Gordon level price or Hwang price, and it's a big call to sort of pick him over them.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be going there over them.
Defensively, it's very young. I don't think they're bad, but it's inexperienced. It might be missing a little bit of leadership, but I do think probably we're not in a position really to judge them till at least after this weekend. This will be the first home game they have where there's an expectation that there should be favourites and get the job done. Let's see how they do.
Nice. Which team has got the most points from losing positions this season?
Is it Brentford?
No,
actually, Brentford are most points lost from winning positions, I think.
Don't ruin my stat. We're not there yet.
Really? That's why I've got Brentford in my head. That's really cocked out. Do you want to talk about Brentford first?
That wasn't actually my stat for Brentford, but sure. The stat I have got for them was they've got the most draws in the league. And
they've only won once.
Yeah. So
Fulham.
4 draws so far. Is that something where is the pendulum going to swing for them, do you think?
We're concerned about them a little bit. Not to the I think they'll go down, not at all. But I think probably concerned that this might be the first sort of dip it's having, and that Tony, I think, being absent is now beginning to catch up on them. Yeah. Obviously, they'd had a brilliant end to last season, and Mbeumo was scoring goals at the start of this season. But eventually you're going to begin to miss a player that's as good as that. I mean, I think he might be wearing red and white shite come the end of January, to be honest, Clayton. So that tells you how good of a talent he is. So he's a miss. Obviously, you've had Rico Henry get injured.
Yeah, so unlucky.
Now you've got an issue with Mark Flecken in goal as well. Ben Mee's had a few problems this season as well. It just feels like it's been catching up with them a little bit. I think that Henry miss is really, really big and painful for them, because it's also taking Hickey from the right-hand side to the left-hand side as well. So you've almost lost the best of both fullbacks, and fullbacks are so important to the way teams play these days.
Now do you assess their upcoming run? Kind of touched on it earlier because of Mbeumo.
The good fixture this week, Burnley at home, but imagine it goes bad. And then afterwards you're looking at Chelsea away, West Ham, Liverpool away, Arsenal at home. Like, that becomes a tough 4. And then very conceivably you can be landing sort of game week 14 and they've won like once.
Yeah. It's one,
and then you're in a relegation fight if that's the circumstance.
Yeah, and that's why this stat stuck out to me, because like you said, they've obviously only won 1 game, but 4 draws as well. That's the sort of thing where the margins in those games as well have been quite tight, and they need these things to start swinging the other way for them.
I think as well, a lot of us would have watched the Everton and Forest games because they were both live here. So Everton got well beat, frankly.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to talk some Everton stuff on here in terms of offensively then, which is interesting. And then the Forest game, red card goes in their favour. They obviously should have had a penalty as well for the foul on Visser, goes without saying.
Yep.
But then you get yourselves in front against a side like Forest, you should be seeing the job through. Okay, then they equalise. You still got half hour to win the game. It never really felt like they would.
No.
So there's concern. And to be honest, Brentford have done amazing what they've done the couple of years in the Premier League, but they're now established.
Yeah.
And so people are going to start
the expectations
about them seriously.
Yeah, of course. Like, I kind of have them as a solid mid-table team every year, kind of, no doubt in my mind.
And I still think they probably will finish at sort of 13th or so.
Yeah.
But it might be a little bit lower than what our pre-season expectations were.
Yeah. Well, you touched on Everton there. So
from FPL, I'd be getting rid of whatever I had after this week. You'd still keep for Burnley this week.
That's what my plan is. So you touched on Everton.
Yeah. What was the stat about is that Everton, most from losing position? Can't be.
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't Everton.
Is that my team?
No.
Most from losing positions.
Liverpool.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go down 1-0 down every game, win 3-1, don't they?
Yeah, so they've got 10 points from losing positions.
And obviously we're losing at Brighton, yeah.
They've gone down 5 times, and then they've got 3 wins, a draw, and they've lost one of them, obviously.
They'd be a much better team if they stopped conceding first
goal
so often. Would be beneficial for them.
Title challenges?
Yeah, I think so. I've said that. I kind of...
Not worried about the defence at all, no?
No, not so much, because I think a lot of the problems that the defence had was through the duress that was being caused on them from the midfield problems.
Okay.
And I think the midfield is better. I think McAllister had a really difficult game at Brighton, for example, but you're not going to play Brighton.
You're not going to play them every week.
Szoboszlai is a major difference.
Brilliant.
I think Curtis Jones is obviously a little bit of a miss for them with the suspension at the moment, but is an improving player. A little surprised he wasn't in the England squad, actually. To tell you the truth.
Really?
I think he'd be worth a look, actually. I think he can play a number of roles in midfield, and we're not blessed with great midfielders for England. We've got Jude and Declan Rice, but you know what I mean?
I was
in terms of the depth, we're perhaps not blessed. Possibly got the best six.
Probably the best double pivot you could get in world football.
Bellingham's going to play as a 10 for England, doesn't he? And I think you'll see that again tomorrow night. So, no, we are a little bit light in midfield, and I think he's someone who's multifunctional and can do a job for him.
Interesting.
And I think he's possibly a part of Liverpool's best 11 now. Obviously, you've got Ryan Gravenberch being integrated. So that's a whole new now. Whole new. So I think that's taking a little bit of the pressure off.
Yep.
You still got the evolution of Trent's role, which I think one of the things that might get round with this Robertson injury, which we don't know how long he's injured for yet, is against Aston Villa in game week 4, they used Trent to move him into centre-back rather than midfield.
Okay.
And had him smashing out distribution from there.
Yeah.
And I think, because a lot of people say, well, maybe we'll play like Gomez at left-back to protect that side, because I don't want Van Dijk getting drawn out to that
just
side.
Just a Tsimikas jobby?
Well, yeah, that's what I think. And I think the way to get round it is probably Konate will come back in for Matip as well, I think.
Okay.
And then
how do you think Trent's role?
They'll split that way, and Trent will drop into centre back quite a lot. I think.
Yeah, because I didn't see that Villa game. So,
well, I think the fixtures allow it as well, right? Those teams have got coming up: Everton, Forest, Luton, Brentford. Like, how much are they going to get into Liverpool's face? City away, you've probably got to do something very different. Then Fulham, Sheffield United. Now, if Robertson was to miss all that, I can see Trent playing kind of quarterback, but even deeper than maybe we might imagine.
How do you? This is a very specific player question, Matt. How do you rate Diaz as an FPL asset? Because I look at that run coming up
next week.
Why is that?
Because I don't think he'll start against Everton. I think the same applies to Nunes.
So is it purely Salah?
And I think McAllister might not start this week either,
so
which makes the game difficult, by the way.
Yeah, so where would you go both defensively and offensively for Liverpool? Literally, Trent,
to be honest, if Tsimikas is out for 4 weeks, and I know if Robertson's out for 4 weeks, I'm very tempted to go Tsimikas in my situation, where I'm probably looking for something very short term and not bothered if it becomes a problem when I've still got the wild card in hand.
Sure.
Without the wild card, less attractive, and I get that. And there's no guarantee he'd come into the team. Absolutely not. But he would be top of the agenda for me at the moment. Like, if I'm walking into this week and it's like, Botman's out again, for example, and then I'm looking at Newcastle's fixtures afterwards and going, right, away game Arsenal, away game Chelsea, United, away game, then Tottenham. And I'm going, actually, how much am I playing him? I might just go like Botman to Tsimikas this week and do that sort of thing. Salah's obviously going to be very popular for the majority of people. I've kind of chosen my path that I'm probably not going to be going down that route. Nunes and Diaz I'm very interested in, but not this week.
Why is it you don't think Diaz will start this week out of interest?
It's the travelling backwards.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was
it's not just the travelling, it's the kick-off times. So Colombia's midnight on Tuesday night / Wednesday morning.
Sure.
So he's playing Tuesday night / Wednesday morning, and then they're playing Saturday. It's the Saturday lunchtime. That's the problem as well. If Liverpool are playing 5:30 Saturday, I wouldn't be concerned. You got to think back to the body clock adjustment as well, right? What time? Argentina playing 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, if you're McAllister, at what time are you going to bed?
But you said
7 in the morning.
Yeah, and the time difference.
And then fast forward 3 days, you're asking him to get up at that time and go and play football in peak condition in a Merseyside derby, which you know is going to be intense. So
this is why I need to do my own homework on this sort of stuff, because my opinion is I think that's enough time to still get back and recover.
It is for me and you. We're not playing elite level football, mate.
What do you mean?
Actually, just for you, not for me. It's not for me.
No, fair point. He is one that I think I've not seen his stats in terms of it, non-penalty XG, but he's one that I wanted to go with start of the season, but wasn't sure minutes-wise how he'd fare on. And I just feel like kind of eye test-wise, he's always involved when he's playing. Talking about Luis Diaz, that is.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, and Darwin's the other one. Obviously, we spoke about in the summer on the transfer window show, second season players to have their kind of burst out, and he's just, the word we always use is chaos, right? He's always in and around it, and if he could have guaranteed minutes, I think we'd certainly go there.
For me to invest in Liverpool, something like Alvarez to Núñez in 10 is probably more of something for me, maybe. But to be honest, I don't think I'm going to go down that route either. But I think Núñez, if I was wildcarding in 10, I think at that point I'd probably be going Tsimikas, subject to Robertson's status,
sure.
Salah and Núñez for me if I was wildcarding in 10. By the way, I think Jota is a great 1 week punt.
Yeah, with everything you've said in mind, actually, that's a really
for
good
those
point.
wildcarding in 10. Say let's just say you're sitting there hypothetically with Saka, and let's say maybe he's not back.
Yeah.
Then I think like to Jota this week is a brilliant punt because of what I've spoken. He's almost certainly going to start.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
I like that shout, especially with the logic you've given around Diaz.
He's one that's I think's perfect for wildcards in 10.
Yeah. Final question on Liverpool. You said you think they can challenge for the title.
Yes.
Right now, what points do you think they're capable of putting on the board?
Liverpool.
Yep.
90-ish.
Oof. And that will challenge.
You said capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think...
Oh, don't worry. I'm not going to hold you to that.
No, not like the 97. I don't see that. But, City might not hit that total this year. Yeah. So
I don't think it's going to be a 95-point season.
You probably do need to hit sort of 90 probably to win the title.
Agree.
And I think they can.
Yeah. So, Merseyside derby.
Yep.
Taking a 15-minute walk through Stanley Park, even though the game's at Liverpool. Everton, you spoke about the attack.
There's some mad statistics on them.
Yeah.
I know most of them, yeah. Go on.
The one I've gone for is they've got the highest XG underperformance of any team in the league, minus 5.7.
They've got a higher XG this season than Manchester City.
Yeah, that was the other one that I had, but it's nuts. I think a lot of it was inflated by that Fulham game.
Yeah, this is where stats need...
context.
So, first thing to say is, on my FDR on the first 8, I would have had Everton top.
They were top?
Yeah, for the first 8. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, look at the games they've had. They've had Fulham at home, lost, high XG. Wolves at home, decent XG, lost. Luton at home, really strong first half XG, lost. Bournemouth at home. Right, these are 4 strong home fixtures, okay? One difficult one they've had is Arsenal. Yeah. They've also had Sheffield United away as well. They also posted a really good XG in the game at Brentford that we mentioned as well. So they've had Villa away. They got murdered, really. They had yourselves at home. And you deserve to win. They never laid the glove on you, basically, really.
That was classic Arsenal away, just boring 1-0 vibes.
Well, you're a boring team. Although everyone, yeah.
Here they are. He's piped up. First time he smiled at his football team in 55 years.
Tottenham have become everyone's anti-team, so everyone's like second favourite team, I think. So look, the fixtures have been good for them.
Yeah.
And that context is important because I've also referenced several times that Everton's fixtures don't become good again now till basically April. And it's because of that start.
That's nuts. When you say it like that, that's terrifying.
Listen, if you can find a good 3-game stretch
I don't
now
disagree.
till April for Everton, good luck to you. Let me know what it is because it doesn't exist.
That's worrying for them.
Well, of course it is, because despite the underlying data, Sean Dyche literally spoke about XG before Everton went to Brentford.
Did he? I missed that.
And then, matched the performance and arguably, obviously, was a little bit over their XG. And that's the kind of gig with XG, isn't it? If someone's massively underperforming, the expectation is that will come back round.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they scored at Anfield at Saturday, but I still don't think they get anything.
No. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think it needs context. The context is that Everton have had a better fixture list than every other team in the Premier League, in my opinion, in the first 8. They've had 2 difficult games, and they've had 6 games that have been really good. How many points are they on?
I don't actually know. I've got it here. 7.
I mean,
3 more than Luton and Burnley.
In terms of points performance, from the 8 fixtures they've had, that's a bad return.
Yeah.
That's a bad return.
Well, if you had them top of the FCR, that's massively concerning.
It shouldn't be under a point per game.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're top of an FDR rating, I think over an 8-game period, doesn't matter if you're Luton, Sheffield United, Everton, you should be hitting more than a point per game. Those home results are obviously not good enough.
Do you think with the style they play, they are capable of kind of pulling up points in complete random games? So,
yes.
Yeah.
Look at Brighton in May, the 5-1. And the other thing, of course, is, again, for context, is they haven't had Dominic Calvert-Lewin for away at those games. And now they do. There was a stat, which I presume has changed, but the stat knocking about before game week 8 was that Calvert-Lewin had posted the same non-penalty XG as Mohamed Salah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he'd only started like 2 games or so. Yeah, because he's had big chances. If you look at the goal against Luton, it's like an XG of like 0.95 on the line, for example, right? But he's back fit, right? And he'll finish and convert some of these chances. So will Everton's forthcoming XG, whatever they post going forward, will their goals return match that more? Yes. Probably, but I think we can also expect that XG number to begin to come down because of what the opponents are. If they keep the team fit, I think the addition of Jack Harrison is a really astute loan signing. He's a profile player, as a wide player in that system that I think will work really well for Everton. If they keep him, McNeil, Calvert-Lewin obviously importantly fit up front, and Doucouré is also got some mad numbers. I think he's about 6th or 7th for shots this season or something. Wow. He wouldn't be on the tip of your tongue to buy for FPL, and it's the fixtures.
Yeah.
Go to Liverpool. Look at all the underlying data you want right in front of you.
Yeah,
they haven't gone to Anfield yet.
Yeah.
And they haven't won there in front of a crowd since Kevin Campbell scored in 1999, I think. They obviously did win there during the COVID season when Richarlison scored, which in itself makes you question if it was something that really happened.
Yeah, it's a potentially worrying period for Everton. We'll see how they get through.
But I think they'll be all right, actually. And I think it's that, like, some of those games coming up, like, they probably will get good results in. I agree with you.
And it's the ones that you wouldn't necessarily predict them before.
If you just say that the Liverpool away, West Ham away, Brighton at home, Palace away is not easy. United at home, Forest away haven't lost at the City Ground, I think, since December. I want to say maybe, or November. Then Newcastle at home and Chelsea at home. Like, if you're an Evertonian, looking at them fixtures, you're probably not predicting that many points in there.
No. I think the thing with Everton, though, is it's like...
Ironically, if they get 7 points in the next 8, that's okay.
Yeah. It's the constant relegation battle conversation with them. And, it's happened 2-3 seasons in a row now. And you always get the feeling going, well, you think they're capable of doing more than that. But they just seem to get sucked in every single season.
They're always on the edge of FFP. They've got this one charge, which we should find out about in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks or so, and what that means. And Man City fans with the 115 will be very interested in the one charge and what the result is for Everton's one charge. Points deduction is not even beyond possibility for them. Yeah. I think they'll probably get a large fine, but then that's just going to restrict them more for FFP. Their hands are tied in terms of transfer business. We've spoken about it a lot. Everton would be in for a really difficult 5 years or so, and we're basically into sort of the second year of that.
Yeah. So, right, we're 40 minutes in, so I'm going to start rattling through a few now. I've got a stat on Burnley, and I need you to shed some light on this. Their average possession this season is 48.8%.
Yep.
Do you have any idea what their average possession was last season in the Championship?
About 60, I think.
Pretty bang on. It was 64%. So
that's not bang on.
4% give or take. So it's not bad for a guess. So they've dropped from 64% average possession to 48.8, which, granted, it's the step up Premier League to Championship to Premier League.
Rough fixtures.
Yeah, but are you concerned about them? Because from a relegation perspective,
more so than I would have been in pre-season.
I think I predicted them to finish like 13th or something. Right now, I wouldn't have them anywhere near that.
No.
Go on, tell me what's going on.
The bookies, in terms of spread betting and stuff, would have them about 17th at the moment. And part of that as well is, again, you start looking around other teams in the league and you think, oh, who will go down? So the bookies would probably currently at the moment have 17th, 18th between sort of Burnley, Bournemouth as it stands. But those two teams are the two teams that we sort of said in pre-season they
could kick on.
Yeah, they really might. But they've also had a horrendous fixture list, really. So, the only kind of arguably green fixtures that Burnley have had really is like Luton away and Forest away. And they got 4 points from them. And that sticks.
Yeah, the next three is Brentford away,
the
Bournemouth
fixtures
away,
get much
Palace
better.
at home, which is not amazing, but yeah, it's better. Do you think, though, that the quality of players they've got are capable of executing the style of play he wants to implement?
I think that yes, maybe. And also there's positives and negatives to this. One, that is quite a young squad, so they'll be open to it. But it is also quite inexperienced. They've got teenagers playing particularly in the attacking positions, which at the end of the day, scoring goals will be the difference in this league. Because I think with Burnley, we can look at them and say they will concede goals.
Yeah. So
if they're not scoring goals at perhaps a little bit higher rate than what you might expect for a team that's down there, then they're probably going to stay down there. Lyle Foster, I think, will do fine. I think he's quite interesting from an FPL perspective.
What's his price, do you know?
He's like 5, isn't he?
Okay.
He's going to be kind of talisman number 9. If you want to rotate him with sort of like a Neto or Hwang, for example, in coming weeks for those who are wild card, and I think that's a reasonable option, whereas, say, like Archer, I just don't think you play it, to be honest. So I think he's of interest. You've obviously got the enabling defenders, and I've spoken about this a lot, that their fixtures get a lot better. There's certain weeks, like when Tottenham go to Man City, Burnley have Sheffield United at home, like it might become quite useful for you. If you're looking for an enabling defender right at the bottom tier, so 4.0, I think it's probably still them. I think they'll probably be all right.
But
yeah, more difficult than what I thought in pre-season.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. I thought they'd be
because the thing is as well, the home games they've had have been awful, right? They've had City, Villa, my team, United, and Chelsea. Like, as 5, that's rough. But if I'd have said to a Burnley fan in pre-season, you're going to get 0 from that.
You'd kind of not expect, but
Burnley, all those things you think about going to Turf Moor, you'd think someone's going to go and slip up there.
That was the previous style of play, though.
And United's the only one that even come close to slipping there. And ironically, Burnley had a huge number of possession in that game.
You said there was a period against you guys that they did really well, didn't they?
They started really well in the first 15 minutes against us. But they became ridiculously wide open trying to chase the game, despite going to a back 5 as well. And just like knife through butter the way we cut through them in the opening period of the second half. And there's that. They do have variety, and I think sometimes that'll work in their favour, sometimes it won't. They'll stick with the manager, not got much doubt about that, to be honest, because they know they're on a kind of overhaul of what our perception of Burnley was to change
it's a brand and culture thing, isn't it?
But yes, unfortunately, they probably are going to be in the fight to stay up,
So their style of play is very clear. So is the next team. Who has had the most crosses in the league this season?
Most crosses?
Yep. Bonus points if you can guess how many.
Newcastle.
Nope. I'll give you a clue.
Go on.
Luton. 196 crosses. 196 in 8 games. Yeah. That's nuts.
And this is why they've got a chance in games.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. So you look at Burnley, who's very clearly possession-based, and Luton are very direct. But the points on the board aren't there. So.
Someone, I said this in pre-season, someone, a strong big club, will go to Kenilworth Road and get beat this
100%.
year. Someone.
Yeah.
And it looked like for a little while last week, it could well be my team, right? With the red card, etc. So, yeah, look, if any team they play that's potentially weak in terms of defending set plays / aerial balls into the box, crosses, it's going to potentially be in trouble. And I think we've begun to see slow improvements with them. What's interesting as well, when you look at their results, and obviously there's a lot of defeats in there, it's only Chelsea, I think, beaten by more than 1.
Okay.
You're not getting slapped, really.
Yeah.
And to be fair, unlike, say, with Bournemouth, Burnley, their fixture list has been quite kind, whereas now it's about to get awful for them.
Yeah.
And they might get found out. And as well as I think, at some stage they probably will beat a decent team at Kenilworth Road. It wouldn't surprise me if they take like the Sheffield United, Newcastle slapping in a game at some point as well.
That's the thing. There's no point getting 3 points against one big team if you're not going to get anything around the ones around you, right?
Yeah. Scoring goals would be a problem for them. They'd need the chances to fall to Morris, essentially. Alfie Doughty puts a lovely ball in from wide. I think in terms of XA and kind of key crosses, etc., this year he shows up really, really well, but you're not paying 4.4 for a Luton defender, to be totally honest, when you can get from the top clubs at sort of like 4.5, your Van der Vens, Gaze, etc. Well, at least from a defensive perspective, Palace doing really well. So, yeah, no, they're going to be in trouble. But, yeah, big physical threat.
Yeah. And
they've shown variation. They played back four against Tottenham, which none of us saw coming.
No.
They've shown they can use variety.
Cool. Back up to the top of the table. Most XG this season. What team?
It's Newcastle,
It
isn't it?
is indeed. 17.3.
There's a few pens in there, though.
Two of them were pens.
Yeah.
But even for non-penalty XG, they're joint top with Brighton.
Yeah.
And then which is 15.7, and your mob are just behind on 15. So
yeah, we haven't played Brighton yet, though. So
fair point. But yeah, Newcastle are flying in terms of chance creation.
Yeah, I mean,
how do you think their season's gone?
You know, the Sheffield United game in there with the XG was like 4 and stuff.
Yeah.
But they had their own really difficult start. It's worth remembering those first 4 fixtures. They lost obviously the 3 in a row to City, Liverpool, and Brighton. They've recovered really well with the 10 points from the last 4, which, to be fair, from the last 4 is probably what our expectation was. For them, it's about when it gets deeper, and I think we both think they'll go through in the Champions League.
Still do, yeah.
You know, once we hit the winter months as well, how do you deal with the Champions League and the Saturday, Tuesday, and the mental side of it and stuff? So I know a lot of people say, "Oh, West Ham after PSG and stuff." Yeah, but West Ham had their own difficult away European game. Freiburg was the toughest game in their group on the Thursday before as well. So we might get some clues on that in terms of weeks coming up. Like, for example, they play you in game week 11 before a big Champions League game a few days later. Yep. And then it's probably the mental stuff in terms of, right, well, after that, they got Bournemouth away. Now, if you want to be, you got to go to Bournemouth
and win that, yeah.
Exactly.
If the objective is top 4,
and that's not to say they won't. They're obviously very capable of doing so. But it's a psychological as well. And it'll be psychological for the fan base as well, as not just the players. How often do we do it as fans ourselves? Oh, it's only Bournemouth. But you expect the players to still be 100%.
Yeah, and I've got no doubt they are. But yeah, the challenge when you're competing in Europe is
They've
different.
shown no signs that they're going to regress.
No.
I don't think. To be honest, I think for them, it's always been key, particularly in the centre-back position, that they keep people fit. There's obviously a little bit of, I was going to say scandal. We don't know if it is yet, but Sandro Tonali might be looking at a heavy ban because of some betting irregularities in Italy, which we don't have the information for yet, and Nicola Zaniolo of Aston Villa might be implicated in that as well, but he's on loan, whereas obviously Newcastle just paid a very sizable amount of money for Tonali. So depth is important. I think, as discussed with Sai on COTC last week, if one of Wilson or Isak was to get injured, I want to go and buy the other one instantly.
Yep.
But I just think it's too much of a headache around it. I think Gordon is the offensive one probably to go for because of his price and because of Barnes' injury. You can look at him, he's going to play the majority, probably similar minutes to, say, a Mitoma. Maybe there will be the one odd one where he gets left out and stuff. Obviously, the defensive guys are fine. Trippier's best defensive asset in the game at the moment. The fixtures do get more difficult after Palace, as said.
I've got my ticket for Newcastle away, so I'll be there for that.
I hope you enjoyed the trip like you did at the end of the season a couple of years ago.
Thanks. I was trying to keep it civil. Keeping on XG. Most XG from set pieces.
Not Sheffield United. Most XG from set pieces?
Yep.
Palace?
Nope. It's another team I just got an away ticket for.
Wow, West Ham.
West Ham. 4.43 XG from set pieces. Mr. James Ward-Prowse effect.
Yeah. Who everyone wants in the England squad, but doesn't actually know if he's compatible to Declan Rice or not. But anyway, he's replaced him at West Ham instead.
They've spent that. Well, we said this in the summer anyway, but they've spent that money very well. And how do you think they're getting on?
I mean, the 3 signings they got in were really good.
So they're sitting in 7th at the minute.
Yeah, they're probably one where expectations probably changed the most. Like we spoke a lot in pre-season about
their expectations have changed the most.
Okay. For me, because I think they're capable of qualifying for Europe.
Agree.
I wouldn't have said that in pre-season.
I would probably agree with that as well. Yeah.
Through a league position, purely because the other 9, the expected top 9, I think were clear, and we'd have looked at West Ham probably in competition with Brentford, maybe Fulham, subject to what their transfer business would have been in terms of like 10th.
Yeah.
Like West Ham have put themselves, I think, are deserving to be in that bracket with the expected top 9 rather than the expected bottom 11.
Yeah.
So the league is splitting into 2 10s, if you will.
Yep.
And West Ham going to the top end of that for me. I think they've done well. I've had some challenging fixtures worth remembering. You know, they've played Chelsea, they've played Brighton, they've beaten both. Obviously lost to City, lost to Liverpool. They've had their own difficult fixtures. They're about to come into a good run. They've got goals in that team.
Yep.
You've spoken about that with obviously the set pieces, Ward-Prowse delivery. That makes the likes of Zuma and Aguerd potentially interesting for FPL. I know a lot of people already got Areola, so maybe not looking at it.
I didn't quite realise how good their upcoming run is.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Bloody hell.
After Villa, it's very good, yeah.
Yeah, so Villa, Everton, Brentford, Forest, Burnley, Palace, Tottenham, which I'm not including in the run, but then Fulham, Wolves.
No, it's a good run.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, I need to get me some Jared Bowen.
Well, it's top of the agenda for me, and that's why, Clayton.
Yeah.
But he's shown he can do it in the more difficult fixtures as well. So, yeah, you got to look at that run and think Bowen's very capable of good things there. So, and Ward-Prowse, I think, is perfectly reasonable for those who are perhaps struggling a little bit more for budget. I think Antonio would be a big avoid at the moment.
Yep.
Mohamed Kudus is worth keeping an eye on. I think both Emerson and Soufal are considerable as well for fullback positions. I quite like Emerson, actually, as a potential option. But I understand, I think Soufal's underlying data is better, I think. And when you do factor him back to the set pieces, like it or not, you can't help but think of Zuma, right?
Yeah.
Really, particularly. And you think, oh, there's going to be a 15-pointer in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's going to be a bullet header coming up.
There could be. So, yeah, West Ham assets for FPL should be right on radar. I might buy Bowen this week to just get ahead of the crowd because I think he will be massively popular next week. And I expect them to do quite... I wouldn't be surprised if we get the sort of 16th, 17th and they're 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
Right? So I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
I think they'll rack up the points in this run.
I don't think they'll finish that high, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're there, yeah.
They get themselves there for a period, yeah.
Yep.
Well, so you say Bowen's first on the agenda for you. So they've got Villa on the weekend, who have conceded the most through balls this season, 25.
Yeah, but probably half of them were against Newcastle in game 1, weren't they, I think?
I don't know.
Newcastle had about 5 one-on-ones in that second half, didn't they?
But more tactically, this game, is that one that suits a Bowen? And more, obviously, we're shifting to Villa.
He's not so much something you associate West Ham for. I'm trying to think who plays that pass for Bowen to sort of punch him behind. It's more kind of wrapped into channels or over the top. So you might not get the benefit of that necessarily this weekend. It shouldn't surprise because Villa are well-drilled and oiled in terms of this high line.
Yep.
Irrespective of how they move, sometimes shape into back 4s, 5s, or even very occasionally a back 6 as well. They're still brave in terms of staying higher generally, unless if you go into the final quarter of a game, sometimes that changes and they go deeper. So it doesn't surprise me that.
They're another team.
They give every team a chance in that way as well, but you've got to exploit it. Playing against them can be really frustrating because if you're delivering your timing's not right, you get caught offside so much.
And Villa's another one. Like you mentioned that stat about De Zerbi. Like there was a stat running around about Villa under Emery, right? Since he came in, and I think statistically one of the best in Europe. I can't actually remember specifically what it was, but points accumulated, especially in the Premier League.
They'd be top 4 since he came in,
and they're another one. They're looking to kind of break into that European cusp. Do you think they'll do it?
As in qualify for Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Villa are capable of more. I think probably later in the season, I expect them to go very deep in the Conference League. That might give a little bit of complications. I think they've also been quite unfortunate with, it's kind of already forgotten, but the serious injury to especially Emi Buendia.
Yeah.
And also
you're right, that has been forgotten.
Buendia, because it was pre-season, is almost completely forgotten. Been a big miss. Jacob Ramsey's out injured again, so they've not been without their own issues. If that mounts up, I mean, for example, like I think John Duran is a very good young player, and I know people at Villa think of him very highly. But if Watkins was out injured for a long period, like for me, that would be forget any top 4 hopes under that circumstance. If something happened to Emi Martinez in goal and have to put Robin Olsen in, that would be like a major blow, for example. Alex Moreno's obviously been missing as well. So they've coped really well with problems they've already had. If they have more, that's potentially a problem though. But yeah, we like them.
Nice run coming up.
Enjoyable to watch. The fixtures are great. You know, Cash is going to be in a lot of teams. Watkins is going to be in a lot of teams. Diaby's obviously going to be really popular as well.
Is cash not an issue for you then?
In what way?
So you've mentioned
I've
before
been concerned about it for a while, but kind of gone beyond it now.
Okay, yeah, fine.
In the sense, like against Wolves, he went back to right-hand side midfield again. And I think that's a possibility. I mean, if Zaniolo did get a ban and you've got Ramsey back out again, I mean, that even adds weight to potentially Carlos going in with Pau Torres at centre-back, Moreno competing with Dean at left-back, and Konsa plays right-back and Cash plays right midfield.
Yeah.
And then it's the upside. I think there will come a point for Matty Cash where it might become problematic, but at the moment he's playing all the time, so it feels like he could be overthinking it a little. I've stressed concerns about it, but it's gone on long enough now. I just feel like in either way he's probably going to stay in the team.
Sure.
Most commonly.
Any more on Villa?
I think Konsa and Torres, for those who are really short on cash and can't get to cash, can be considered as kind of rotatable defenders, and you can play obviously in a lot of these fixtures. Their run coming up in the next sort of 4 to 6 is very good. Interestingly, then it turns difficult with sort of City and Arsenal, and then it turns really good again. So Villa assets going to be really popular for a number of months.
So we're going all the way to the bottom now.
I think, by the way, just one to add, I might captain Watkins in 10.
Who have they got in 10?
Luton at home.
Ooh. Who has the
might do.
That
he's not out of thinking for me. Obviously, look, Salah's got Forest at home. I think it's probably the standout one.
Yeah.
But for me, it's probably going to be Haaland / Watkins, and it probably depends how I feel about Saka when I get there.
Yeah.
If I'm uncomfortable, I might just stick the armband on Watkins in that game.
I like that. So we're going from Villa all the way to the bottom. No guesses for this one. It's the team bottom for almost every metric you can get.
Sheffield United.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find some positivity for them, but
we could just move on to the next team.
Yeah, is there any? It's not nice to just completely shit on a team.
No, and I hope they do well over forthcoming games, particularly as I got you in game week 10.
That's going to be the one now, isn't it?
I mean, if they come to your place and play open, I won't be captain Watkins, captain Saka.
The specific metrics that they're bottom for are shots faced, XG conceded, open play shots, and set piece shots. So
stat as well, set piece one as well. Yeah.
So there's shots overall, but it's literally when you break it down, it's both open play and set piece. It's concerning. It is alarming.
Yeah, and obviously the very injuries not helped as well, right? So Egan and now Basham got serious injuries as well, and Basham was probably back up to Egan, right? So yeah, I'm just unfortunately a little bit light on quality. I think the front two are a decent little partnership in the sense McBurney kind of takes the battering ram for Archer. There's a lot of pressure on him to score the goals though, because McBurney won't, frankly. There's a lot of pressure on Hamer to join in from midfield and get attacking returns, and he's got a couple, but it also makes the midfield a little bit lighter. I think Vinicius Souza hasn't had quite the impact that people were hoping for. They get basically completely overrun in midfield if Oliver Norwood plays. They don't have the variety in system. I did a piece on Luton last week in terms of the variations they can show in their play. Sheffield United basically varied, in my opinion, in one game and they got beat 8-0.
Yeah.
So,
do you think they can stay up?
Can they? Of course, yeah. Okay. It's too long to go.
Yeah.
And listen, we've written teams off before. I mean, just think last year about possibly a little bit later, but think how we felt about Bournemouth this time last year after 9-0 at Liverpool and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And ended up staying up very comfortably. So what they've got to do really is try and get to January and be able to see the end. And then if you're astute in terms of, loan signings or stuff like that in terms of January, because they won't have a lot to spend, unfortunately, then you can potentially give yourselves a chance. They also, their fixture run it's not great either.
No.
Going forward. So, no, I don't think they'll stay up. Can they? Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's too early to completely write off anyone. I don't agree with, they might get less points than Derby.
Oh, I hate that thing with everyone. Before. Yeah.
No, but to be honest, do I see them hitting 30 points? That's going to be difficult, to be honest.
Cool. Moving on. So we're going to Forest next. And the stat I've got for them is their meters per second in attacking sequences. Mate, this one I found really interesting.
Nico, get us some breakfast or something, please, mate, while Clayton tries to explain this to me.
So, I'm just going to read it out specifically.
Yeah,
1.99 meters per second is the average speed of ball movement towards the opponent's goal during Nottingham Forest's possession sequences.
The most direct team in the league, is that what you're telling me?
Guess who it's bettered by? There's only 2 teams that it's bettered by.
Oh, so that's not the...
It's the third highest,
most.
but I was struggling to find a specific one for Forest, so I came across that.
I think West Ham might be one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say a surprising one.
Yeah.
Not Newcastle, is it?
No, but it is a surprising team. It's Luton. So it's only been better by
it's
West.
direct.
Yeah, but with Forest, is this a case of that's their style, or do you think it's because of the sort of teams they've played so far?
I think they're changing.
Because I looked at, so they've obviously played Arsenal, United, City, Chelsea. Is that just a case of they're obviously needing to counter, or?
This is a good example, I think, for being careful with statistics. So you could look at Forest, and I think you probably want to cut off the first few games of this season.
Yeah.
And probably take it from the Burnley game onwards, game week 5, I think that was. Man City games, game week 6, you could probably still include it. And that's because they've shown willingness to change, not just in terms of system, but also in terms of the profile of player that they're playing, and also the style of football as well. Mark Southern spoke about this before the Burnley game. He said, we're trying to change. And I couldn't foresee that they would do that against Burnley, and he was absolutely right, and it did. So they're trying to attack with way more purpose and control against teams that they believe they can take on and beat. The profile of player they've got in is of a higher standard as well. So Sangare and Dominguez have settled in quite well. It's moving more towards a 4-3-3, which I don't think is great for your boy Gibbs White, by the way.
No, I know.
They've obviously got quick wide players in the likes of Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi, but to fit in Gibbs White at the moment, Elanga's probably going to miss out. Obviously, Amonyi's got an injury.
Yep.
Which is a little bit concerning.
How long's he out for?
Not major, we don't think. Couple of weeks, but certainly almost definitely enough to keep him out of the plum fixture against Luton this week. Be very interesting. Divock Origi, if I knew he was going to start this week, actually, as a 1-week punt. If anyone wanted that, I probably wouldn't do Chris Wood on the 1-week punt. But they're trying to change, Clates. Murillo looks a tidy players coming left-sided centre-back. That's helping with their distribution from that position as well. So, yeah, the Forests, I feel 12th, 13th could even be, maybe.
Well, that's where they are now, right? They're 13th right now.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
It's a good, strong home record as well. Tough place to go and win.
Yeah.
So I think there's been a little bit of disgruntlement from some of the fans there in terms of the style. But that style, the wins against Liverpool, Brighton, Arsenal last season at the City Ground is what kept them up.
Yeah.
Now it's probably more about, okay, let's see more. You know, when you're playing Luton this week, take the game to the opposition. Don't wait for them to come for you, and they will. They will try and take the game to them. And that might backfire on occasions, by the way.
So 2 points above them, sitting in 12th, is Fulham. And a lot of the narratives in the summer was obviously focused around Mitrovic. And the stat I've got for them is, okay, they're doing fine in the league. They're 12th. They've got 11 points on the board. But they've only had 86 attempts on goal. And that's the 4th lowest in the league.
And they've got a scoring goal problem.
Yeah.
Which we speak about on tomorrow's COTC as well. So, yeah, Jimenez, unfortunately, it's 25-odd games now. His certainty to score Monday, probably, off his arse, I should imagine.
Fingers
but
crossed.
They need the midfield players to contribute. There was one I noticed. They're one of only 3 teams who haven't yet got a player who's scored 3 goals in the Premier League this season. I think Sheffield United was one, and the other one, unbelievably, by the way, is Manchester United.
Oh, wow.
So they're needing the likes of Decordova-Reid. Harry Wilson got a couple of really good goals for Wales last night, and Willian and Pereira to really contribute, because it doesn't feel like Jimenez or Carlos Vinicius are going to be able to score enough goals. They've also potentially got a problem now with Issa Diop, which is fine. Calvin Bassey can come in, he's absolutely fine. But if they then lose one of them, then they're short centre-back as well. So a little bit concerned about them. Next 4 is tough.
When you say you're concerned, do you mean from a relegation perspective, like getting sucked in, or?
I think they could be, purely because, and I don't think they will, but if you start conceding too many goals and you're not
scoring enough, then
it's just an obvious recipe for problems. They don't score enough goals as it stands. So if you start conceding too many, then problem. Now, the goalkeeper is obviously a very good FPL asset, and people shouldn't panic about it from that perspective. It's fine. But we have a discussion tomorrow about when you start looking at cheaper goalkeepers like Areola and the fixtures coming up, it is easy to flip him. And I think most on wildcard in the next couple of weeks who've got Leno will probably get rid. He's reasonable to keep hold of if you're looking really long term. And I think for goalkeepers, arguably, you should think really long term if you're on wildcard. But he's the only one you'd really consider. Although you bought Castagne, so you can explain why you did that.
I just, like I said, it was a 2-minute wild card. I had like 4.5 million left. And,
they had Sheffield United at home. Yeah, I get it. Yep.
Right. Moving on. Most offsides in the league.
Is it your lot?
Nope.
Go on.
Chelsea.
Oh, sorry, Miss
My
Jackson.
boy. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Yeah.
25 offsides, but more to the point.
Is that just Jackson?
No. That's the whole thing. He's got 24 of the 25. That's a joke. What do you make of Chelsea? Because underlying metrics, they look fine, but points aren't quite there. They're sitting in 11th. So how's your old boy Poch doing for you?
I've forgotten about him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Their fixtures is mad. Rough what's coming up. Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, Manchester United. Is a really, really tough run of fixtures.
Would you say in the summer, with everything you knew about Chelsea, that we'd get to the second international break and they'd be where they are now?
No, because they've had good fixtures as well and some bad results. So, not scoring in consecutive games, Forest at home, Bournemouth away is bad for a team like that, right? But they are beginning to get players back fit.
Yep.
And we should probably judge it after this period and once they've got players fully fit. And, I've lost Chilwell now for a few months, for example, and stuff like that. So they're probably never going to get in a position where they've got everyone for Fana's out for the season, for example. But majority of players are getting back to fitness now, which is now, I think it's felt like I've watched certain games, particularly say that game at Bournemouth, like the team picked itself near enough, bar the fact he left Chilwell out.
Yeah.
But it's only been that kind of left wing. Otherwise, the team's basically picked itself. Then that's going to begin to change a little bit. We start looking, is it Palmer, Sterling, Mudryk? Is it Jackson or Breuer? And they're just these little things, being able to have decisions about it, I think is beneficial. The midfield's building a relationship now with Casado's obviously getting himself fit and integrated. Fernandes, we know, is a good player. I think Gallagher's been really good when I've seen Chelsea.
I agree, yeah.
Particularly
I think he's been good
in the game at Fulham. And he gives that real kind of energy. That's a good balance, that midfield three. Let's be honest, Casado, Fernandes and Gallagher as a midfield three is not an 11th best midfield in the Premier League. No. So let's see how well they do. They might surprise a little bit over this upcoming period.
So do you think it's
possession numbers are strong?
Yeah.
Defensive numbers are fine. So they might surprise a little bit over this period. But it's a tough period.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer's the only one for FPL to be on radar, and he might have got injured for the under-21s. So
yeah, we'll see how they get on. Just above them. Wait, is it above them or? Just
most
above them.
Most teams are above them, mate.
Well, this one is it's Man United, and the stat I've got for them is they've got the most turnovers in the league, 90 high turnovers. So profile-wise, obviously Ten Hag speaks about trying to become that pressing team, but it's just not really translating into anything material.
It's interesting now. I'd like to do a bit more digging into that. It's an interesting stat. Because my first initial reaction to that was to say, they're also the easiest team to play through the middle of the pitch.
I've got something that backs that up. Do you know what PPDA is?
Go on.
So for people that aren't aware, PPDA measures the number of passes by an opponent they allow per defensive action.
Oh, yeah.
Such
passes
as tackle.
Per defensive action.
That's the one. And what you just said in terms of playing through, they're the 9th best in the league for that. So it's like the high turnovers is one thing, but actually being played through is another where they're average.
They aren't aggressive enough through the rest of the team, or when they are, they get it wrong. I did a piece on United after they beat Nottingham Forest. I looked at their first 4 games and we looked at attacks basically through the centre of Manchester United.
It's a joke.
And a lot of the problem was that there was one incident in a game at Tottenham. You might remember Pap Sarr having a chance in the first half, and the ball was in Tottenham's penalty area and there was a really high press going on with Rashford particularly at the top of it. Fernandes they'd all gone in, and Casemiro was the only one that was kind of off it, and the ball came towards the edge of the box where Tottenham had played out. And Casemiro didn't back off, like he went for it. Now, if you make that decision, you've got
to win it, yeah.
He didn't win it. And then Tottenham are carrying 5 men forward against like United's back 4 and stuff. And the distances were all wrong. Casemiro needs help in that position, which, look, Amrabat's there now.
Yeah.
And we've not really been able to see the two of them together properly as yet. So that'll help, and that's going to need a little bit of time of integration. They've also, in fairness, I think because of Manchester United, again, we forget with own injury problems. Don't have a left back at the moment, basically. Shaw, Malacia, Reguilon's had problems.
Yeah, to play Martinez in the inverted.
Martinez could cover theirs. Also, obviously got a bad injury and is an important player for them. Varane, you're never going to get more than 6-week period without a breakdown, unfortunately. So they've had their own problems in terms of injury issues, etc. But yeah, if you do beat the first line of press, which most commonly you will do, most commonly you'll either beat it or you'll go back to your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
If you beat it, you've got them all ends up in trouble. To be honest, I know people have been critical of Casemiro. There's been games I've watched and I felt really sorry for him.
Yeah, because he's left on an island.
We can't get out in the same way like a Declan Rice can, and it's unfair to compare like that. And Casemiro had, I think, a transformative impact for Manchester United last season, but now needs a little bit of help in there. And Amrabat may give that. But yeah, there's a whole lot not right with the club. We know that obviously the Sheikh Jassim bid is obviously over now, which people can have their views whether they like that or don't like that, etc. But I mean, if you go on Twitter, you'll see "Rest in Peace, Manchester United" and stuff like that at the moment, which is a little bit dramatic. But I've said this recently that I think it feels like they walk into a pre-season and they've got 3 or 4 problems, and they plug 3 problems, and once they plug a couple of problems, the new problems open up. They're just chasing the tail all the time.
It reminds me a lot of Arsenal of the last kind of before this period under Arteta and Edu. Arsenal the last 10, 15 years, it was always, okay, not 15, but it was always crystal clear what the problems were going in to the summer, and we'd only ever plug 2 of the 4. And yeah, it reminds me of that with Man United. And I just think it's a whole structural thing in that club where from top to bottom, they're just, it's so disjointed.
I'll add a couple of things, though, from a fantasy perspective. Don't sell whatever you got this week. I mean that. It's Sheffield United this week, so that's a keep. Afterwards, it's Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who want to say free United, and it's quite conceivable someone will have like Onana, Fernandes, Rashford. I'd keep it all this week, and I'd be looking to wild card off it. That said, they themselves then come into a really good run again from game week 11 onwards.
Yeah.
And I can see me maybe jumping back into sort of Fernandes from Maddison or something like that over that period. Fernandes underlines not bad, particularly in terms of the creativity. His numbers are good. It's that
classic thing with him as well. 90 minutes, penalties. He's just a fine asset. One thing I'll ask you on them, similar question to Chelsea. Well, no, it's not similar. Where did you predict Man United to finish in the summer?
4th or 5th, one or the other.
I did as well.
I think 4th, to be honest.
Right now, what points do you think they're capable of putting?
Capable?
Okay, what points do you think they'll put on the board?
60.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be anywhere near the top 4, personally.
Not at the moment, not unless something changes fairly drastic. But there's a run of fixtures where they could put up a head of steam. Yeah. Say they beat Man City and then they win those other games for expectation, they'll quickly find themselves 4th or 5th.
The pendulum can swing quickly. Next statistic is on a team where you'll probably be able to tell, struggle to find a specific stat, but the manager of this team became the first manager to string together 5 successive unbeaten Premier League visits to Old Trafford.
Oh, it's Roy.
Big Roy.
That's your statistic?
For Crystal Palace, yeah.
It's fucking good. That's a proper letdown for all the Crystal Palace fans, isn't it? What's Clayton got on Palace? He's got a statistic
about Roy Hodgson.
About Roy Hodgson and trips to Manchester United, of which you don't have another one for 12 months.
I challenge people to try find an interesting statistic on Crystal Palace this season.
Okay, there you go. Challenge laid. Put it in the comments on YouTube or on the Bird app.
And they're doing fine. They're sat 9th in the table, 12 points.
And they've had injury problems, particularly offensively. Elise, we think, might be back for game week 10, by the way, as the update.
Wow. Okay.
And Matthias Francha, he's going to be in the squad for the game at Newcastle this week as well. Very talented boy. Quite how that'll work out remains to be seen, because I've seen many young, talented kids come from South America and either hit it off or they disappear. No way of knowing. But he's talented. I had a little look back at some clips of him last night, actually, to just have a little bit of a reminder. And he's got ability. He's exciting. It's the usual YouTube, though.
All the best bits.
Ballon d'Or winner in the making, which is also written into his contract, by the way.
Is it actually?
Palace have to pay an additional fee if he wins the Ballon d'Or.
Wow, okay.
Which the bit I love about that is the idea that he might win the Ballon d'Or while he's at
Palace. Yeah. That would be the stat.
That would be quite some doing. I don't know. To be fair, it might be that they've got to pay it if he wins it later in his career. There's a possibility. So that would help. They've got Franchar and then obviously Elise back fit and then maybe Eze after that. That would be helpful. They've got their own really good run from game week 11.
Yep.
Which we should have an eye on. I'd very much been of the thinking a few weeks ago, Johnson to Areola, and the closer it gets, you think, what's the point?
Just keep it, yeah.
What's the point? Just go to a West Ham defender rather than, Areola and Gay is cheaper, If I want a bit of West Ham defensive, buy one of those defenders that I've mentioned is going to save me a transfer. So,
but Palace defensively is they've only conceded 7 goals.
Yep.
They're very astute defensively.
Yeah, stingy. And to be honest, if you look, I think they've lost 2, which obviously lost to yourselves with the penalty.
That's the one.
And to be fair, you did miss some chances, particularly in the first half. And they lost at Villa, and they were winning 1-0 till very late.
Yeah.
So difficult team to play against, difficult team to beat. The centre-back relationship is very, very good. Goalkeeper steady. The rest of it's kind of no frills. They've missed Decore and Lerma recently. If they come back in, it's strong, and it becomes a very, very difficult team to beat. And I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Another team who... So I had these tipped as kind of bankers to go down, being completely honest, and I was very wrong. Well, I think I'm very wrong. Wolves. And the stat is actually around Hwang Hee-chan.
Love him.
Yeah. 5 goals.
Korean guy.
He's absolutely brilliant, but he's got 5 goals already.
Yep.
He just needs 1 more to equal last season's top scorer, which was Podence and Ruben Neves.
Wow.
So that's already 8 games in. But what do you make of Wolves? And where were you start of the season?
I think those 2, Hwang and Neto, are well worth looking at, by the way. And I have a little preference for Hwang because he's the one putting the ball in the net. But I think Neto hasn't blanked since game week 2. Like, he's good, he's consistent. And I think it's that, right? If you took those 2 out of the team at the moment and then looked at Wolves, how do you feel?
It's a bit different.
Yeah, feel like they're in trouble again. So the big thing with them is always concerns, will they score enough goals?
Yeah.
Well, if these 2 are providing at the moment, then they'll be all right. Because I think, again, defensively, they're a little bit light on numbers, but Dawson and Kilman are fine as a partnership. They've got enough competition in terms of the fullback positions. The goalkeeper is okay. He always does quite well from an FPL perspective. That shows, again, by the way, if you look at SARS points and look at Wolves defenders, there's a big difference. That's why he's got a much higher price. They've obviously changed to a 5-4-1 recently in the City Villa games. So the interesting bit now is, well, what now? Is that the same at Bournemouth? I think because their home fixtures are quite difficult and the away fixtures are more straightforward, the system might stick until something goes wrong. Look, Villa and City at home, 4 points is a brilliant return.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, it's interesting because obviously Bradley was on prior to the Villa game, and we'd said it was strange that there's concern about O'Neill, and he's done all right, but concern in terms of, like, that performance at Old Trafford, there was a lot of... Had O'Neill implemented it that quickly, or was it the last remainder of Lopetegui's team? And then once O'Neill got his methods across, then it started to fall apart.
Yeah.
Because the performances after the Manchester United game in game week 1 weren't great.
Yeah.
But then the last couple have been better again.
And
so
at the just to add to that as well, I look back at that and think how much of that was United's own kind of vulnerabilities that we're seeing consistently, as opposed to how great were Wolves in terms of playing through.
Wolves were very good that night, in fairness, If you look at the teams that have played at Old Trafford since, Forest, Palace, Brentford, they've all given United troubles. I mean, even Palace have obviously gone there and won. But Wolves, I mean, how they didn't win that night?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, I think the only thing to say about them, again, I think if suddenly you lost that attacking output from them, they're the sort of team you could see would just nosedive really quickly, and I'd keep an eye on them. But they're doing okay, and those 2 offensive players are worth considering.
Nice one. So we're on to the final 2. Man City. So they've obviously on the back of 2
less XG than Everton. I mean, can't win the title, surely.
Well, where do you think they're ranked for non-penalty XG per 90?
About 8th, I think.
Flipping hell, have you done your homework? Yeah, they're 8th.
No, just know roughly. That's
so they're 8th for non-penalty XG per 90, 1.67.
And they've had good fixtures as well.
Is there anything to look at deeper, or is that just because every other metric in terms of possession, touches, final third entry,
what we'd expect?
Yeah, but that's the one where I was like, okay, that's interesting, and it was more because I was looking at my concern around my lot in terms of chance creation.
Okay, so I think in all competitions this season, City played 11 games. I think I want to say.
Yes.
No, it's probably more than that. No, that's right. Yeah, no, 8 in the league, 2 in the Champions League, and 1 in the Carabao. Yeah. Right, and they've won 8 and lost 3. Am I right so far?
Yeah, and obviously 2 of them were in the league without Rodri.
Yeah, and so was the League Cup game was without Rodri as well. So they played 8 games with Rodri and won them all, and they played 3 games without him and not. So let's see, like, how important is he? But the reality is, you're talking about one of the best sixes on the planet.
Yeah,
and there isn't anything there you can't replicate that.
No,
and I do think that a little bit when I talk about, say, Tottenham losing Bissouma. Because it's true, right?
He's such a unique profile
what
for
would
what
happen
you've got.
if Tottenham lost Bissouma for a long... Well, City shit themselves just without Rodri for a long period at the moment.
Yeah. You've seen
got to adapt, and Guardiola, because he's such a genius, probably would find a different way of a system or coming up with something. But he's not over this last little period, right?
But even so obviously, the 3 losses have come without Rodri, but the chance creation and non-penalty XG is still a stat where Rodri's been there. So is that just... What's going on there?
Rodri will enhance City's creativity because the way he absorbs, and he's also really good at playing the diagonal to...
Yeah, but he's only missed 2 Premier League games and they're ranking 8th.
Yeah, but let's have a look back at the first 6 as well.
Yeah, I can't remember what the fixtures were, to be fair. Go have a look.
I mean, the first 6 fixtures, look, when you look at City's first 6 fixtures, the hardest game on paper there was West Ham away. So should they have been hitting their maximum points from those 6 games? Yes, of course.
So absolutely. It was Burnley away, Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away, Fulham at home. Then it was Champions League, Cup.
West Ham away, and then Forest at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should have been hitting their top points on all those games. I wouldn't be too overly concerned about Manchester City, personally.
For what it's worth, neither am I. I just found that statistic really interesting.
No, it is. Like,
usually, I think every season
lower XG than Everton.
Yeah,
you wouldn't expect it. And we've said about Everton's fixtures being good, but City's fixtures were good as an 8 as well. So no, we wouldn't expect that. But if people are using that at the moment to kind of justify selling like a Haaland or an Alvarez or something like that, just wouldn't. Do
you think it's a case of kind of similar to last season where they're just simmering, and then it gets to February and they go up the gears?
Well, City looked a mess in January, February. I thought it was gone from. There was no spark there or anything. So now we've just got into October. Like, we've been here before, and you kind of need a big lead over them.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lead of 2 points is nothing. Go on, get your dig in. I can see it. It's on the tip of your tongue.
You've scored 2 more goals than you. But it's not.
I cannot wait for your bubble to burst.
Listen, we know it will, so it doesn't matter. No, there's not a thought that would run through my head for a second that I would think, oh, my team's going to finish above Manchester City. Man City's the sort of one you'd probably need to be about 13 points clear before you felt comfortable about finishing above them. Like, it needs to be a big total. So, sorry, mate.
It's fine. Thick skin now, thick skin. Anything to add from fantasy perspective for City?
Is that all the teams, is it?
No, we've got one more. My lot.
Yeah, just one thing, actually. And the fixtures are really, really difficult for them, but it will probably switch on concentration. And John Stones being back fit will make a difference as well.
Yeah.
And most of us would have wanted him in game week 1 because some of the positions that he ends up into. It's a difficult one because the fixtures are tough, but he could be a cute little and astute buy, I think, once he gets back in that team.
What's his price?
It's like 5-3.
Okay. Yeah, one to keep an eye
on. Alvarez is fine to keep hold of. Haaland is going to be kind of your preference, whether you're him and Salah or one or the other. It's fine. I'm not going to say anything about Haaland you don't know, other than as I said prior to game week 8, and I think I might have said it was Suj last Monday, no intention not to capture him for that fixture against Brighton.
Yeah.
Could be 5-all.
There are a few decent fixtures that week, to be fair.
What, next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Salah against Everton, Son against Fulham. Even you can make the case, some of the stats you said about Watkins against West Ham, for example.
But you'd still go Haaland.
Yeah, I'll
over
definitely be going Haaland.
Even the Spurs boys, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt in my mind, to be honest.
So the final stat.
It's a good game for him.
Yeah.
It's not where he's going to have Craig Dawson like biting at his back all game and stuff.
There'll be
Brighton go to City and try and beat him.
Yeah.
And there might be space for him, but...
So, like I said, the way I came up with that stat on City was because, separate to this pod, I've just been interested in Arsenal this season offensively, and I don't think I'm an Arsenal fan. If
Clayton's
I haven't
concerned.
Said that. Yeah, I'm not concerned.
Clayton's concerned.
I don't think offensively it's clicking quite like it did last year. But Jesus, Martinelli, Saka haven't played that much together. I want to say once, maybe. I'm telling you now, when Spurs' bubble bursts and they actually get played through defensively and they get their injuries, we will be there. Anyway, we've had the most penalties this season, 5. And
so how much you paying refs?
Well, it was more. I wanted your opinion on the chance creation thing because jokes aside, I'm a little bit concerned. I think it will get better now that all 3 of them could be fit together and play. But yeah. 5 of our goals have come from penalties. So
fluency is not at its best, but there's probably been lessons learned from the end of last season. You've just played, quite frankly,
we've just gone boring.
Not the game against Man City that many of us would have expected to watch. To be honest, Clayton, if you'd done boring in February, March, April last year, you probably would have won the league.
Yeah, I think the obvious thing there was the injuries, right?
And I get that.
For what it's worth, I agree. I think he's definitely.
I don't think, by the way, you haven't become boring.
No. I think he's gone for the way I've described it is. I think he's gone for a higher level of control over the kind of basketball games that we tended to let happen last season. But it's one of those where I do think the level of quality and the frequency of the chances is less, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's also integration of new players. Like Havertz, Vieira has obviously seen more minutes, and he feels like more of a kind of Arsenal profile player than Havertz from what I've seen this season. You do mention the injuries that have been an effect. There's possibly a little bit more of a cautiousness in terms of protecting. Not that Declan Rice needs protecting, but learning to play there by himself, if you will. Which Thomas Partey's obviously absence wouldn't have helped with that either. You had the kind of the inverting from right back rather than left back at the start of the season.
Which I did not like.
No, I did, because I didn't think it looked as good, to be honest. So I think there's a few mitigating circumstances on what we've seen so far, and I don't think you should be too concerned.
Fantasy-wise, I've seen a few people...
Do you need to do more to possibly win the league offensively? Yeah, probably.
That's where I'm at.
Sometimes you'll hit some low blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise... So I said I believe our run is a little bit mixed coming up, but I think you said you've got it quite high.
Yeah, I've got you second for the next 8.
Okay.
And that obviously includes in there the fact that you've got Chelsea away and Newcastle away in the next 3.
I guess it's more excluding those 2.
Why. So, yeah, looking on further, that's a really good run for me. You've got home games against Sheffield United, Burnley, Wolves, also trips to Brentford, Luton, and then you've got Villa in game week 16 away from home. I think it's an over
Martinelli on
good. Plus, also you keep more clean sheets away from home. Anyway, bizarrely, Martinelli very, very interested in.
I've got my eye on him.
I've kept Saka, and I will keep Saka unless there's a big problem. Even if it's Saka's doubtful for this week, he's staying for me.
Yeah,
because of the week after.
Yep.
I've got Saliba. I'd like to flip it to Gabriel personally.
Save the extra money.
Save the money. Yeah. Just literally simple as that. I mean, do you foresee concerns to Gabriel's position going forward? Because I think people want to. It's almost like justifying the narrative, and I feel like it's over now. Yeah,
and even I said this to I forgot who I was speaking to. Even if Zinchenko is out, I don't think he'll do flip the dynamics and go Partey from right back again. Personally, I think he will put a Tomiyasu or a Kiwior there.
I think you could feel when Martinelli got on the ball in the second half against City, you could feel the confidence growing within the crowd.
Yeah,
and his importance. And that might have been emphasised more because Saka was unavailable as well. But I think it's a great option, and there's no doubt that Odegaard will do well over this period as well. I saw a mad stat last night. He only scored 3 times for Norway in about 55 caps.
Wow. Yeah, I think I spoke to you about this off air. Like, I've seen a change in his role where he's shooting a lot more in the final third.
And also positionally a bit deeper often as well. I think.
I'm not quite... I'm not quite there with that, but I think he's still arriving into the box frequently, and when he does, he's shooting more often. Because I think the narrative around the playing deeper was going into the summer. A lot of people, myself included, thought it would happen because of the Havertz signing, but I still think he's occupying similar areas.
Okay. Xhaka's been a miss.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah, big time. I don't think we've adapted. Well, yeah, Havertz hasn't obviously hit the ground running in that position, and I know a lot of people are trying to find the positives in what he's doing, and it will be a slow burner. But yeah, we are missing Xhaka. But
we joke about that on tomorrow's Clash of Correspondents towards the end, and you're going to have to listen to that to find out what that joke was.
I will do. So we've done the 90 minutes. Are we going 5 minutes extra time to do questions?
Go on, give us two.
While I have a quick look, why don't you tell everyone what they've got on Patreon this week?
You did that very
Serge,
well.
don't come back, mate.
Before Patreon, Clash of Correspondents tomorrow, Tottenham versus Fulham. Some Thorpe FF thinkers joining me for Sky Fantasy Football Podcast on Wednesday. Thursday, Man City, Brighton, COTC with Johnny Pringle, Sam Murray. I'll be streaming on Friday, Ask James. I think it's going to be 10 a.m. Friday morning. This Pratt next to me is back for Tottenham Arsenal on Wednesday, where I'm going to be bringing some statistics, Clates, on Tottenham and Arsenal season so far for discussion. They will be heavily weighted in my favour, of course.
Nothing to do with Liverpool at all, no?
Shush. For the differential show on Friday. Tomorrow, Tom Hyun, one of our patrons, is joining me for a podcast on variance in FPL and links to poker. And on Thursday, our Aston Villa correspondent Lee Jackson is joining me for Money in Football to find out why plenty of Villa fans are not happy currently.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with on-pitch.
Yeah.
It's off-field stuff.
I will tune in for that. So we've got time.
If you want to support the show, www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. See you all November the 5th. Tickets in the bio.
Be there.
Or
so
be square.
We've got two
or
questions.
Else.
So we've got one from Luke at LXTAFPL. Why is Jamal Lascelles known as Big Tasty?
Oh, we had this on a stream recently. So it's an old story from one of our first seasons of Planet FPL where I wanted to buy him and there was a bet over at McDonald's on if he would return or not. And I don't think he returned, but we filmed Serge taking me to McDonald's to buy a Big Tasty anyway.
And it's become
That's
part of the Planet FPL.
Is known as Big Tasty. It's not because I think he's handsome or anything like that, but, you know, he's a mildly attractive man if you like that sort of thing. Yeah.
Nice one. Next one was Tim at Timbers FPL. This is one that I've got my eye on as well. Best cheap mid under 6 million if you need an enabler. And he's given examples as Gordon, Neto, Luiz or Souček.
I think if I was going... I mean, Huang is another one that's not listed there to add to that list, I think. Gordon, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, just longer term, I think that looks okay now, and it's at a price point where there's certain times where if you don't want to play it, you can bench it. But I think his ability to win penalties, etc., you just want to play him because that could happen in any game, to be totally honest. So I think Gordon from that. I'll throw another name to keep an eye on. We talk about a little bit tomorrow as well, is Brennan Johnson.
Okay. When's he back?
5'8", so there's every chance he'll be involved on Monday. I don't know if he'll start.
So much for my Richarlison punt.
That at 5'8" is worth keeping an eye on.
Sure.
Because he will find a net. I'm more confident in Johnson scoring goals than Richarlison.
Richarlison, yeah. Okay, well, on to the next and final question. We've covered most of them, but obviously you do it. What's it you do on Advanced here? It's the unanswered questions, isn't it? So
yeah, we'll cover them all today, yeah.
Yeah, so join that if you want to see all of them that haven't been answered, but they've mostly been covered in the show. So final one goes to Jonathan Ellinghouse. Is tripling up on Tottenham, West Ham and Villa until game week 15 way too risky? Tottenham, Villa and West Ham.
I mean, within that, you've got, Haaland or Salah plus Saka. I mean, you definitely want some of Arsenal in there. Don't necessarily discount Brighton. This is why I'll give you an example, right? So my opinion on that would be probably not, because those three teams probably don't have enough of your trust. Maybe they're all good teams. They all kind of will do quite well. But around that, you've also got Liverpool, Brighton, Arsenal got good fixtures. You've got some cheaper ones, the likes of Palace have got some good fixtures. Meanwhile, don't discount the likes of City, etc. Yeah. So the example I'd give you, I've got Cash and Watkins. Okay, so the third best asset for me is Diaby, but I don't have any West Ham, so I'm much more inclined to work. I think Watkins is the best Villa asset, so I've got it. I want to get the best West Ham asset. I mean, that's Bowen. So I don't want to be in a position where I'm going, oh, well, I'll go Diaby to cover Watkins, or I'll go Ward-Prowse to cover Bowen. I want to try and get me the best ones. And I think if you go with 3 from each, and you could go Areola, Ward-Prowse, Bowen, Cash, Diaby, Watkins, Maddison, Son, Udogie, that's most of your team. And you're left with, like I said, Haaland or Salah, plus probably like a Saka. Like, it's not terrible, but you are definitely missing things from elsewhere. Cool. There's too many teams that have got good fixtures at the moment to put all your eggs basically into just 3 of them, I think.
And that's that.
You could make a case with Liverpool. I'm probably not going with any. You could make a case. Say you're sitting there with Salah, and I think you look at Liverpool's fixture and you think, I want 3.
Yeah.
But right now, probably the right answer is probably just Salah, or if you feel comfortable enough to take that Shimikas gamble.
Yeah, it's lots of different ways to skin it at the minute, but that's the way we like it.
Thank you, Clayton. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, enjoyed that. And that's a wrap.
I don't know how to finish it now because Serge normally does it. So, as always, guys, play it your way, be nice to each other, and cue music, please,
he says, stay safe.
Oh, fuck. Go on, do it. Do what he says then.
I've just whacked the mic.
Do it what he says.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay safe.
Cue music, please, man.
Oh, wait, he says stay safe, ciao for now, doesn't he?
Oh, be nice to each other. I'll play cue music, please, man, child. God, there's some bad outtakes in this
That was a car crash ending.
Terrible,
that one.
terrible. Serge, come back, mate.
Bosh.
Cheers.
That was a long one.
That's standard, isn't it?
I didn't think it would be that long.
You're covering 20 teams.
Yeah.